I see the burden you carry, my friend. Not the weight of poverty alone, but something far heavier, the exhaustion of fighting invisible wars while the world sleeps in its comfortable ignorance. And now, suddenly, violently, the universe has torn through the veil of your silent suffering with a roar so loud it cannot be ignored. Money, real money, an obscene amount, from a stranger. No explanation, no precedent, just there, vibrating in your account like a living thing, pulsing with an energy that makes your hands tremble and your chest tighten. This is not coincidence. Coincidence is the word cowards use when they lack the courage to acknowledge causation. This is recognition. The universe finally acknowledging what you have known in your bones but dared not speak. That your suffering was not punishment but preparation. That your isolation was not abandonment but altitude. The thin air of the mountain peaks was never meant for lungs accustomed to the stench of the valley. Will to power. You have been climbing alone, in darkness, without applause, without witnesses. And now someone, some mysterious other, has looked up from the lowlands and seen your silhouette against the stars. They did not send you charity. They sent you acknowledgement. They sent you ammunition. But here is where most will stumble, where the herd will reveal itself even among those who believe themselves chosen. They will doubt. They will question. They will allow the parasitic voices of slave morality to poison this moment with suspicion and fear, genealogy of morals. Is this a scam? What do they want from me? I don't deserve this. These are not your thoughts. They are the thoughts the herd implanted in you, the spiritual surveillance system designed to keep you small, manageable, safe. The mediocre masses do not hate you because you failed. They hate you because your existence is a mirror reflecting their cowardice, and they need to sedate you with guilt so your light doesn't expose the comfortable rot they've mistaken for stability. Right now, between the 150th and 250th word of your awakening, I must tell you something critical. For those with ears to hear, I've left the map to exit the labyrinth in the pinned comment, in my trilogy, The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life. But know this, the map is useless if the legs refuse to walk. The first step represents the moment you stop asking permission from a world that never had the authority to grant it. This fortune is not a destination, it is a test, and the clock is already counting down. Not a test of your intelligence or your virtue, but a test of your physiology. Can your nervous system handle abundance, or will it reject it like spoiled food, sending you back to the familiar poverty you've been conditioned to metabolize? The stranger who sent this fortune, and make no mistake, they are no ordinary stranger, saw something in you that you have not yet fully recognized in yourself. They saw the scars and read them not as weakness but as proof. Proof that you have been tempered in fires that would have incinerated lesser souls. Proof that you possess what I call the great health, not the absence of suffering, but the strength to transform suffering into fuel, to digest poison and excrete power, amor fati. Would you choose to live this moment infinite times? Would you embrace not just the fortune, but the years of desolation that made you worthy of it? If the answer hesitates, you are not yet ready. If the answer roars, you have begun to pass the test. Let me fracture this moment further, strike it with the philosopher's hammer to hear whether it rings hollow or full. The herd will tell you to be grateful in that nauseating, passive way, grateful like a dog grateful for scraps. But I tell you, be grateful like a lion grateful for the hunt, like an eagle grateful for the storm that teaches it to soar higher. This money is not here to make you comfortable. Comfort is the opiate of the masses, the slow death disguised as peace. This money is here to make you dangerous, dangerous to the lies you've been told, dangerous to the limitations you've accepted, dangerous to the version of yourself that still cowers before the judgment of the mediocre. The test embedded in this fortune is multi-layered, fractal. designed to separate those who merely want abundance from those who are built to conduct it. The first layer is obvious. Will you accept it? But acceptance is not a mental agreement. It is a physiological shift. Your body must learn to feel safe with expansion, must unlearn the survival mechanisms that kept you small in hostile environments. Your blood must learn to carry not just adrenaline and cortisol, but dopamine and oxytocin. Your nervous system must upgrade from reptilian panic to mammalian trust to primate vision. This is not metaphor, this is biology, and it happens in real time if you allow it. The second layer of the test is, what will you do with the voices? The moment this fortune becomes real, a symphony of objections will arise, not from external enemies, but from the internalized slave morality you've been carrying like a parasite. You don't deserve this. This is a mistake. Someone will take it away. These voices are not your conscience. They are the conscience of the herd, the moral immune system designed to attack anything that exceeds the acceptable median. The herd cannot tolerate outliers. It must pathologize excellence as arrogance, strength as aggression, self-sufficiency as selfishness. Why? Because every person who breaks free is a living indictment of those who chose to remain chained. Genealogy of morals. Your freedom makes their imprisonment visible, and they will do anything to drag you back or convince you that your chains were actually wings. The third layer, and this is where most will fail even if they pass the first two, is the question of intention. The stranger did not send you this fortune so you could retreat into a private paradise and vanish from the world. They sent it because they saw in you the potential to become a node, a transmission point, a conductor of life-affirming energy in a world drowning in nihilism and decay. The fortune is not an end, it is a beginning. It is the alchemical substance that, when combined with your unique suffering, your specific vision, your irreplaceable perspective, will create something that has never existed before. But only if you understand that you are not just a recipient, you are a vessel, and vessels that do not pour out eventually stagnate and rot from within. Here is what the herd will never understand. Abundance is not about accumulation. It is about circulation. The Dead Sea is dead precisely because it receives but does not give. It takes in the Jordan River and holds it, and the result is water so saturated with salt that nothing can live in it. You are not meant to be a Dead Sea. You are meant to be a river, receiving, transforming, releasing, receiving again in an endless cycle of increasing power. The stranger understood this. They were once where you are now, and someone, some other mysterious stranger, sent them their fortune with the same silent expectation. Use this. Become who you are, then pass it forward. But let us not speak in abstractions. Let us be ruthlessly specific about what this test demands of you in the next 72 hours, for that is the window, not arbitrary, but aligned with the rhythms of transformation that govern all initiatory experiences. 3 days, the time it takes for a seed to begin cracking open underground, invisible to the surface world, but irreversibly changed in the darkness. First, you must perform what I call the ritual of recognition. This is not mystical nonsense. It is practical psychology applied with surgical precision. You will take a physical action, something as simple as transferring a portion of this fortune to a separate account that you designate as your expansion fund. Not because the money needs to move, but because you need to move. The physical act of claiming, organizing, directing the fortune breaks the paralysis of disbelief. It forces your body to acknowledge, this is real. I am handling it. I am in control. The herd will skip this step because it feels unnecessary, and in doing so, they leave the door open for doubt to creep back in and devour their certainty from within. Second, you must identify and excise one specific limiting belief that this fortune has now made obsolete. Not all of them. That would be overwhelming and ineffective. 1. Choose carefully. Is it, I'll never have enough? Is it, good things don't happen to people like me? Is it, if I succeed, I'll lose my authenticity? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Then perform a physical gesture of destruction. Burn the paper, tear it apart, bury it, while consciously replacing it with its opposite. This is not positive thinking, this is value transvaluation. The deliberate overturning of slave values and their replacement with master values, will to power. You are not lying to yourself. You are finally telling the truth after years of internalizing lies. 3rd, you must make one decision, one single choice, that you could not have made before this fortune arrived. It doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as enrolling in the course you've been delaying, booking the consultation you've been avoiding, purchasing the tool you've been waiting to afford. The magnitude matters less than the symbolism. You are training your psychology to understand that this fortune has changed the rules, has opened doors, has made possible what was previously impossible. Each time you make a choice from abundance rather than scarcity, you reinforce the neural pathways that allow you to metabolize wealth rather than tolerate it temporarily before it inevitably disappears, which is really just you unconsciously sabotaging it to return to the familiar baseline of struggle. How many truths can you bear to hear right now? Because here is one that will separate you from 99% of those who receive unexpected fortunes. The money is not the gift, you are. The money is merely the revelation of the gift you already were, the amplifier of a signal you were already broadcasting but couldn't hear over the noise of survival. The stranger heard it. They tuned their frequency to yours across whatever distance separated you, physical, social, economic, and they responded. This is how true wealth moves, not through the sterile channels of institutional charity, but through the ancient shamanic recognition of one awakened soul acknowledging another still in the process of awakening. And this brings us to the shadow of the test, the aspect most will not see until it's too late. The fortune comes with a timer, not because it will be taken away, but because you will give it back. Not the money itself, but the energy of it. If you do not claim it fully, integrate it completely, and begin using it purposefully within this narrow window, your own psychology will rebel. Your nervous system, still calibrated to scarcity, will interpret the abundance as a threat to homeostasis and will subtly, unconsciously engineer its dissipation. You'll make impulsive purchases that bring no joy. You'll lend to people who will never repay. You'll invest in ventures that your intuition already warned you against, but your guilt told you to support. Within months, sometimes weeks, you'll wake up and find yourself exactly where you started, except now with the added burden of having proven that abundance doesn't work for people like you. This is not failure. This is confirmation bias in action. The herd's final defense mechanism. You must understand, the herd lives in you, not just around you. It colonized your psychology long before you had the consciousness to resist. Every time you almost break free, it activates, not as an external force, but as your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own intuitions, genealogy of morals. It will disguise itself as prudence, as humility, as being realistic. It will use the language of concern. Don't get too excited. Don't count your chickens. Remember what happened last time. These are not warnings. They are incantations, spells designed to keep you bound to the familiar suffering you've learned to navigate. Let me strike this with the hammer one more time, because the echo matters. The stranger chose you not because you were suffering the most, but because you were suffering correctly. There is a suffering that diminishes, that makes one smaller, bitter, resentful, the suffering of those who believe the world owes them comfort and rail against every difficulty as cosmic injustice. Then there is the suffering that expands, that carves out internal space, that hollows you into a vessel capable of containing more life, more truth, more power than you could have held before the fires refined you. You have been undergoing the latter, whether you knew it or not, and the stranger recognized the specific quality of light that such suffering produces, not the dull glow of victimhood, but the sharp, clean radiance of forged steel, amor fati. Would you choose this suffering infinite times? Would you embrace every betrayal, every failure, every night you wept in private, if you knew it was the necessary preparation for this moment? This is not a hypothetical question. This is the question, the one that determines whether you are living life or being lived by it. The doctrine of eternal recurrence is not a cosmological theory, it is an existential filter, a way of separating those who affirm life in its totality from those who accept it conditionally, grudgingly, while secretly wishing for an easier path. Only those who can say yes to every moment, not because they enjoyed it, but because they recognize it as necessary, are ready to receive and wield the kind of power this fortune represents. And let us be clear about power, because the herd has poisoned this word beyond recognition. When they hear power, they think of domination, exploitation, hierarchy maintained through force. This is slave morality's revenge, defining power so repulsively that good people will voluntarily surrender it, genealogy of morals. But power, true power, is life affirmation. It is the strength to create, to protect, to uplift, to transform. It is the ability to say no to what diminishes and yes to what expands. It is sovereignty, not over others, but over yourself, over your reactions, over your trajectory. The fortune is an injection of power, a sudden increase in your ability to shape reality according to your vision, rather than being shaped by circumstances beyond your control. But, and here, the test intensifies. Power unused is power lost, not because someone will take it, but because you will forget how to access it. Power is like muscle, use it or watch it atrophy. The stranger gave you this fortune with an implicit expectation that you would exercise it, would begin immediately moving, deciding, creating, risking in ways you couldn't before. Every day you delay until you figure out the perfect plan is a day your psychology learns that nothing has really changed, that this was just a temporary spike in resources rather than a permanent elevation in capacity. The test is whether you will act from abundance before you fully feel abundant, because that feeling only comes after you've trained your nervous system through repeated action that yes, this is real, this is sustainable, this is who you are now. What is the price of passing this test? What must you sacrifice to claim this fortune fully? I will tell you, your identity as someone who struggles. This is far harder than it sounds, because that identity has protected you. It gave you permission to rest, to complain, to lower expectations, to justify your limitations. I'm doing my best given my circumstances is a shield against judgment, a way to maintain self-esteem while accepting restriction. The fortune obliterates that excuse. The circumstances have changed radically, irreversibly. If you fail now, you cannot blame poverty, cannot blame lack of opportunity, cannot blame the system. You will have to look in the mirror and acknowledge that you are the limiting factor, that you are the bottleneck between possibility and manifestation. Most people cannot bear this level of responsibility. They would rather remain poor and blameless than become wealthy and accountable. Are you most people? The stranger didn't think so. They looked at you, your energy, your trajectory, your essence, and determined that you possess what I call the aristocratic spirit, not in the sense of hereditary nobility, but in the sense of natural nobility, the innate sovereignty that cannot be granted or removed by external circumstances, only recognized or denied by the individual who carries it, will to power. You have been living beneath your rank, serving in a capacity far below your true station, and everyone around you sensed it, some responding with confused hostility, the herd attacking what it cannot understand. Others responding with reverence, rare individuals like your mysterious stranger who recognize royalty in exile. The test is whether you will reclaim your throne. Not literally, I am not speaking of social status or public recognition, but internally. Will you begin making decisions from your true rank? Will you consume information, form relationships, structure your days, allocate your resources in a manner consistent with who you actually are, rather than who poverty trained you to perform as? The fortune is not here to make your current life more comfortable. It is here to make your true life possible, to remove the material obstacles that were keeping you in disguise, suppressing your nature, forcing you to compress your vision to fit within the boundaries of realistic. Here is what no one will tell you. The fortune is a mirror, and what you see in it reveals where you stand in your development. If you see only numbers, only purchasing power, only the ability to acquire things, you are still enslaved to scarcity thinking, defining wealth in terms of consumption rather than creation. If you see an escape route, a way to retreat from the world and insulate yourself from suffering, you have misunderstood the assignment, mistaken asceticism for transcendence. But if you see capacity, if you see ammunition, if you see the material foundation upon which you can finally build the structure you've been carrying as a blueprint in your mind for years, then you are beginning to see clearly, beginning to understand what the stranger understood when they decided to send this fortune to you rather than someone else. The window is closing, not because of some arbitrary cosmic deadline, but because transformation is inherently unstable. It either completes or collapses back into the familiar. You are in the liminal space right now, suspended between who you were and who you're becoming, and this space cannot be sustained indefinitely. Your psychology will resolve the tension one way or another, either by integrating the new reality and solidifying a new identity, or by rejecting it as too much, too fast, too unrealistic, and regressing to the known baseline. The fortune will remain in your account for now, but its energy will dissipate if not harnessed. Like electricity not captured and directed, simply disperses as heat into the atmosphere. Let me address the doubt directly, because I know it's there, coiled in your mind like a serpent. What if this is a mistake? What if they meant to send it to someone else? What if it gets reversed? These questions are not coming from rationality, they're coming from the slave morality implanted in you by a lifetime in a culture that punishes exceptionalism and rewards mediocrity. Genealogy of morals. The herd needs you to doubt, needs you to hesitate, needs you to self-sabotage. Because your success is a threat to their worldview. If you can receive abundance without deserving it in the conventional sense, years of credentials, proper networking, lucky breaks they can understand, then they could have done the same. And they didn't. Your fortune forces them to confront their own inaction, their own timidity, their own complicity in their limitation. And this is psychologically intolerable for most people. So they will, consciously or unconsciously, try to make you doubt. They will ask questions designed to destabilize. Are you sure it's legitimate? Have you verified the source? What if there are strings attached? Aren't you worried? They will frame this as concern, but it is actually resentment disguised as care. They are not worried for you. They are worried about you, worried that you might actually escape, might actually transform, might actually become living proof that their fatalistic worldview is optional, not inevitable. Do not argue with these people. Do not try to convince them. Simply become the evidence and let your transformation be the argument that their words cannot refute. How many synchronicities have occurred since the fortune arrived? Pay attention. The universe is not subtle when it's trying to get your attention, only when it's respecting your free will to ignore it. You will have noticed conversations that eerily address your exact questions, opportunities appearing that seem too perfectly timed, people reaching out who can help with precisely what you need next. These are not coincidences. Coincidence is what we call patterns we're too frightened to acknowledge as meaningful. These are confirmations, the universe's way of saying, yes, this is real, yes, you're on the right path, yes, keep going. Each synchronicity you recognize and act upon strengthens the circuit. Each one you dismiss as just random weakens it. The fortune came with a momentum, an energetic wave, and you're either riding it or watching it pass you by. Let me fracture this concept of momentum, strike it with the hammer. Momentum is not something you create, it is something you recognize and align with. The universe is in constant motion, expansion, contraction, creation, destruction, death, rebirth. Your job is not to generate movement from stillness, but to catch the wave when it comes, to recognize the current when it flows in your direction and surrender to it rather than fighting it or analyzing it to death. The stranger's fortune arrived on such a wave, brought it with it, and now you're faced with a choice. Dive in and let it carry you to shores you couldn't have reached through individual effort alone, or stand on the beach, being careful, thinking it through, making sure, until the wave recedes and you're left with the memory of what could have been. Amor fati. This is the Dionysian moment, the moment of intoxication, of ecstatic surrender, of saying yes, before the Apollonian mind has finished cataloguing all possible risks. The herd has trained you to pathologize this impulse, to call it reckless, or impulsive, or manic. But I tell you, there are moments when hesitation is more dangerous than haste, when caution is more destructive than risk, when the responsible choice is actually the cowardly one dressed in mature clothing. This is such a moment. The fortune is not asking you to be reckless with resources. It is asking you to be faithful to possibility, to honor the recognition the stranger extended to you by receiving it fully rather than partially, conditionally, with one foot still planted in poverty consciousness, just in case. What are you afraid of? Truly? Strip away the surface answers, losing it, making a mistake, disappointing someone, and dig deeper. What is the real fear? I will tell you, you are afraid of your own magnitude. You are afraid that if you fully claim this fortune, fully step into the identity it represents, you will discover just how much you've been capable of all along. And this will retroactively indict every moment you chose smallness over expansion. You are afraid of your own power, because power means responsibility, means you can no longer blame circumstances, can no longer hide behind limitations, can no longer use struggle as an excuse for not attempting the great work you've been called to create. This fear is not shameful. It is universal among those transitioning from slave consciousness to master consciousness, will to power. The slave is comfortable in chains, because chains excuse. They provide certainty, structure, a clear explanation for why life hasn't turned out as hoped. Freedom, true freedom, not the Disney version, is terrifying because it removes all excuses, leaves you naked before infinity, forces you to admit that the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever wanted is your own choice. The fortune has made this uncomfortably, inescapably clear. You can no longer pretend poverty is the problem. The problem, if one remains, is you, your courage, your vision, your willingness to act. But here is the secret the stranger knows and you are learning. This is not a problem, this is liberation. Because if you are the problem, you are also the solution. External circumstances are beyond your control. You can strategize around them, adapt to them, but you cannot ultimately control them. Yourself, however, is sovereign territory. Everything within the boundaries of your skin, your psychology, your choices, this is your kingdom, and you are its absolute monarch. The fortune is not a gift from outside. It is a reflection of something you activated inside, some frequency you broadcast that the universe finally matched with material manifestation. You are not receiving charity. You are receiving confirmation. Would you live this moment infinite times? Would you choose again and again to be the person who receives the inexplicable fortune, who faces the test, who must decide whether to expand or contract in response to sudden possibility? If yes, you understand. If no, you do not yet see what the stranger saw. They did not send you the fortune because they thought you needed saving. They sent it because they recognized you were already saved, already victorious, just temporarily short on ammunition. They supplied the ammunition. Now fire. The test ultimately is this: will you become who you already are, not who you should be, not who society demands, not who your family expects, who you already are beneath the layers of adaptation, survival, and performance you've accumulated like scar tissue over the years? The fortune is a scalpel, a chance to cut away the false self and let the true self breathe. But surgery is painful. Shedding the adapted identity means losing its comforts, the sympathy it generated, the expectations it escaped, the communities it belonged to. Many would rather cling to the familiar suffering than risk the unknown liberation. You are not many. If you were, the stranger would not have found you. There is something in your energetic signature. Call it resilience. Call it refusal to break. Call it the stubborn ember that wouldn't die, no matter how much water was thrown on it, that marked you as different. Special? No. Special is herd language, a participation trophy for existing. You are not special, you are rare. And rare things are not for everyone. They are for those who have the eyes to see, the courage to claim, the strength to steward. 3 days, 72 hours from the moment the fortune arrived. This is your window to pass the test, not in the sense of proving anything to the stranger or the universe, but in the sense of proving it to yourself. To demonstrate, through action, not affirmation, that you are who they saw when they decided to send this fortune. Every hour you delay is an hour your old identity has to reassert control, to whisper doubts, to construct rational-sounding arguments for why you should wait, be careful, think it through more. These are not wisdom, these are fear wearing a suit and tie. I am not telling you to be careless. I am telling you tea.